Hey,
Hey.
welcome to another Friday with us. We are Jason and Tina Marie. I'm the Tina Marie.
And I'm the Jason.
And I was named Tina Marie before the singer Tina Marie, so I'm the original Tina Marie.
Well, there you go, baby.
All right. Welcome again to Friday. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for looking at it, whether you're with us live now or you're watching the replay later. We love you. We appreciate you and thanks for tuning in. All right. So we are life and relationship coaches
And mentors.
and we talk about everything the 411 or marriage, but we also include relationships because relationships are part of marriage. All right. So this is where you can find us.
You can find us on our podcast. Thank you very much. You can find us on our podcast, Love and Beyond the I Do. That comes out every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast delivered. Also, you can come back here and catch us on social media on Friday, Facebook, our Facebook page,
YouTube.
Legendary Relationship, YouTube. We're all over social media. So we have social media and we also have our YouTube channel. So we'll be here every Friday live, YouTube on the Legendary Relationship.
All right. So today we're talking about, guess what? Relationships.
Of course we are. Why
right.
wouldn't we?
And we'll get right into the conversation right after this.
Yep, right after that.
All right. So thanks again for tuning in. So this past week, we did a little research. So every now and again, we have to communicate and connect with couples, right? Because we don't know it all. But one thing we did realize is that the research was on give me 3 to 4 words to describe your relationship or your marriage during good times and during bad times.
Right.
So I want to share some of these words that we received, right? So in the bad times we received, and this is not all of them, we have a ton of them, but the funny thing is that most of them were the same. So disconnected or disconnect, hurt, distrust, lack of trust, absent, not listening, broken, unappreciated, stressed, non-communicative, right? Distant, stressful, frustrating, disrespectful, one-sided, exhausting, annoying, hurtful, lonely, dismissive, insignificant, and unimportant. And that's just a few. And so, Jason, you can read some of the results from, and this is what people sent in about during the good times.
Trusting, happy, giggly, high energy of respect. Respect, care, laughter, loved, wanted, happy, fun, engaging, easy, very intimate, caring, loving, amazing, blissful, joyous, hopeful, harmonious and appreciated.
All right. So those were some of the words that we received. And I hope you guys paid attention to those words. And as I said, that was just some of them. But what we realize is that usually when we're having a conversation on Friday or whether on our podcast on Wednesday, sometimes we coach people or we talk to people. And we may have just had the same conversation with someone, so they may think that we're talking about them. So what I wanted to tell you guys today is that the funny thing is that when we're having conversations, we're not talking about anybody in particular. What we're talking about is everybody in particular, because those same words came across over and over and over, right? Disrespectful, unappreciated. And then the same things came: laughter, love, fun, lighthearted, right? So what I want you guys to realize is that every relationship is pretty much the same. We all bring our own uniqueness to it, right? But we all go through the same issues.
Right.
And the only way we're going to learn how to truly create the relationship that we want is to talk about these things. Most people are ashamed. They don't want to discuss the things that they're going through because they think they're the only one. All relationship experience some of these things or more during the course of being together. That's how it is. When you bring two different people together from two different backgrounds, two different likes, two different dislikes, you're going to get some of these things because you were not trained how to have a good relationship. We're just thrown into the pot, right? Boy meets girl, you get together, you get married, you have kids, or you don't have kids, you live happily ever after.
And you just deal with the rest.
Absolutely.
However it comes, you just deal with it.
So we're here to help you to understand that those bad times can be less.
Sure.
We can, and if we're doing it right the first time, if we're talking about these things that create bad relationships, then hopefully we can avoid them. But if we've already experienced them or we are currently experiencing them, then we need the things to combat them, right? We need things that's going to help us in our relationship and for other people to help us, right? Because we're all going through the same thing. We're all living this life the best way we can. All right? All right, so let's get into tonight's conversation, which leads us to tonight's conversation. Right.
Creating a relationship that you want. Right?
The right way. The right way. And like I said, we've all experienced some bad because that's part of life. But let's start creating it today and going in the right direction.
Yep. So the first thing we want you to think about is developing a genuine interest in your partner's life as an essential aspect of building a strong and healthy relationship. See, because that shows that you care about it, about their experiences, their thoughts, their feelings, and it fosters an emotional connection of support. I can't stress that enough, the emotional connection and support. Because really, when you get down to it, we're really looking for that connection, and we really want that emotional connection, and we want to feel supported.
All right. Yep, absolutely. So as we're talking, I want you to listen to these words. Let these words sit with you. Don't just hear them. Ask yourself, how many of these things am I doing? How many things am I doing to better my relationship with my mate, right? And with others, because all relationships play a part. Because if you don't get it right with your mate, you're not going to get it right with others, and vice versa. If you're not having a good relationship with your daughter or with your son or with your coworker or with your neighbor, you're not going to know how to interact with your mate when those same instances come up, right? So let these words resonate with you, right? Let's check. I want you guys to check and see if you guys are doing these things. How many are you doing, right? Are you doing them or do you know them, right? So these are 12 tips that we're going to give you that's going to make your relationship better. 12 tips for a healthy relationship. All right. So when your relationship is good, everything's great, right? You never even think about going, right?
No,
everything
it's great.
Is good, right?
There's nothing wrong, right?
Absolutely. So it's much easier to be happy and really not think of the bad times. And I know my sister or my brother-in-law, one of them always said, prepare for war in time of peace. And that's what we need to do. So when our relationships are healthy and they're happy and they're striving, this is a time to put into effect the things that we need to do in our relationship so that when those times come up, we can be betterly ready for them. But you guys know what I'm saying.
Right.
We can be better equipped.
Yep.
Right, so we can have fulfilling relationships. So these are, again, I'm going to say them. 12 things. Can you, so these are 12 things that we should do every day. So I want you to listen to.
Wait a minute. So these are daily tips.
Daily tips.
So these are 12 daily tips.
Which means that these are things that you should be doing each and every day. And if you're not, see how many you're doing and then try to make it up to 12. All right? I'm having a hard time reading my tips. So I think it's the color.
Yep.
All right. So, and these glasses that bring, okay. So, number 1. All right. So, realize that you can control only yourself. All right. So, these are my 12 tips. I'm not going to try. I'm going to read them off of this. So, number 1 is realize that you can control only yourself. Number 2 is, Still number one, but number two. So let's see. Give what you hope to receive. Give what you hope to receive. And then the next one is think before you speak.
Whoa.
All right?
Can you say that
So
again?
now those are 3 of the first 12 tips. And then Jason's going to give you a little bit of information that goes along with those.
Right. So when you say those things, it makes me go back to one of our techniques, and that's active listening, right? Paying attention to what your partner is saying and make a conscious effort to actively listen. Maintain eye contact, which is important. Nod or provide some type of verbal affirmative action to saying that, hey, I'm getting what you say.
Yeah, affirmations.
Affirmations, yeah, verbal affirmations, yep. To show that you're engaged in the conversation. There's nothing worse than having a conversation with someone,
Right.
and they are just not participating in the
checked out.
Right. They're not paying any attention to you. They're either, self-absorbed on their phone or on the television. They're not paying attention to you. It's active listening. So you have to pay attention. Avoid interruptions and multitasking. I know that, that they say that we can do this multitasking and also. No, we can't. We're not very good at multitasking, right? Only computers are good at multitasking, but really they only do one task at a time. So just make sure we're talking about active listening. Now, there's something that you have to do. This is one of the 12 that you need to do every single day. Now, how good are you, or how would you rate yourself as far as this active listening?
Absolutely.
Are you doing a good job, or are you not doing a good job? Can you see where you may need to improve on active listening?
All right. So don't forget the first 3 were realize that you can only control yourself. Right? Give what you hope to receive. So if you want to receive love, give love.
Yep.
And then think before you speak. All right. So the next ones are choose your battles wisely. And I say this all the time, whether it's with your coworker, your husband, your wife, your children, choose your battle wisely. And the next thing is stay on top of the small things.
Yep.
So you have to stay on top of the small things. All
Yeah,
right?
because the small things are small until they become big.
Exactly.
And then when they become big, you have issues. So
Absolutely.
you want to take care of the small things to eliminate the issues.
Okay. So how do you do that?
Well, ask open-ended questions, right? Instead of asking simple yes/no questions, which we do. Ask open-ended questions that encourage your partner to share their experiences. I mean, like, for example, if you ask them, did you have a good day today? The answer is either yes or no.
Right.
Right? Instead, once you ask something that's a little bit more engaging.
Right. To really,
to
really want to know, not just be superficial.
Right. Not just say, hey, how was your day today?
Right.
Right. So it's like, what was the best part of your day? What did you enjoy most about your day today?
Exactly.
Right? Always take the high road. Always try to find. So when you ask questions, you want to make sure that they say something that's enlightening, that's uplifting. So you say, hey, what was the best part of your day? Well, what did you get most out of the day?
All right. So I hope you guys are taking down these 12 things that you should be doing with your mate to establish the right type of relationship starting today. And remember, ask yourself, don't just listen to these things and say, oh, I know them. How many are you actually doing? It's one thing to know something. It's another thing to do it.
Right.
Let's apply these principles. Let's apply these 12 tips to start creating the relationship that we really want. So the next one is be willing to be vulnerable.
Oh.
All right. So be willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah. So I guess, you know what? We could show some empathy, right? That's one way of being vulnerable. Show empathy and understanding. Put yourself in your partner's shoes, which I've heard that before, haven't I, Tina?
Absolutely. Say it all the time.
All the time. So put yourself in your partner's shoes and try to understand their perspective. For example, if there's a challenging day at work, you could say, that sounds really tough. How did you handle that situation? Right? So you're showing support and you're showing empathy and understanding. You understand, one, they had a challenging day.
Right.
And now you just, hey, how did you handle that?
Or just ask them, do they need, do they
Any
need
type of support?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yep.
How did it make you feel?
Exactly.
Have you resolved the issue?
Right.
Whatever
Are
it
you
is,
okay
right?
with the situation?
Okay. So the next tip is give a sincere compliment each day. Give a sincere. Find something that you love about your mate, or just or you're just happy or grateful for it. Find a compliment, a genuine compliment to give them every day.
Yep. And then, you can share their excitement. Celebrate your partner's accomplishments and milestones.
That's right.
Be genuinely happy for their success. I'm going to say that again. Be genuinely happy for their success, right? I can't stress that enough. Whether big or small, share in their excitement and offer your support and encouragement.
Yeah. So I know Jason he always talked about how proud he was when I graduated or when I did this. And sometimes when he does little things, right, I'll say, oh, thank you so much for moving that. He'd be like, oh, no problem. I got you. But it's not the fact that I know you have me. It's the fact that I want you to know that I appreciate you doing it, right? Or if lately he's been acts of service type of guy.
All right.
So, so when I do something for him, thank you for doing that. And so I know one day he was going on a trip. And we were going on a trip, and he was like, "Oh, you're not going to pack my clothes?" And I'm like, "No." He was like, "Oh, I really love it when you pack my clothes," and it made me feel good because he genuinely said it. He was like, "Oh, it really makes me feel good. It makes me feel like you really love me, when you pack my clothes." Or so. He didn't say it then. He said it afterwards. He said something, and it touched me because it was genuine. It wasn't I don't want to do it. Oh, I hate doing it. It was. I appreciate the time that you take when you put my things together, make them look nice, and whatever else comes with it, that I'm actually doing it.
I do truly appreciate the way that you
Right, he probably doesn't want to do it too, but at least
you do it a lot better.
Right?
You do it a lot better.
He appreciates it.
I do.
Next tip is be open regarding your needs. We can't stress this enough. We have these unspoken expectations on our mates to know how we're feeling, what to give us at what time, when we want to be touched, when we don't want to be touched. I know that there's times when I do want to be touched, and then there's times when Jason goes touch me, and I'm like, don't touch me. So, we have to.
I like how you just glazed over that. I got you. Yep.
It was so funny because when I was younger, my cousin used to say the same thing to me. We would be out, and it would be really, really hot. And, she would make sure that, don't touch me. Oh, and now I understand. Sometimes when you're hot, you just don't want to be touched. So the thing is, be open about your needs. Let your mate know. All right? So.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And some of these needs may require what?
Yeah, some quality time.
Yes.
Right? We always talk about quality time together.
Right.
Set aside a dedicated time for meaningful conversations and activities. They don't always have to be activities, but conversation sometimes is
so that you can be open about your needs.
Exactly. This can also be a regular date or simply just a spare of the moment. Just find something to do just so that you can connect and have deeper conversations.
Absolutely.
Create an environment where you or your partner feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and experiences. Now, that may not be in the house. That may be you going for a walk and having a talk or something, or going to the park or car ride.
Or go get some ice cream.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good conversations going to get ice cream.
It's true. We've had a lot of, so we would get the ice cream, and then we would sit at the park or go sit in the park. If it was cold, we would sit outside the park in the car. But we would go sit at the park when it's warm and just have just meaningful conversations. Things about maybe, may have been bothering me. Now I'm in a relaxed atmosphere. Now we can discuss them calmly, or I can let them know how I felt. And so I'm open to being able to not be in my feelings at that time, right? It's a safe space. Everyone's calm. So now I'm actually being open about the things that I need to discuss. All right. And now the next tip is give your relationship attention and care. So that means give your relationship attention and care. That means you and your mate, right? Stop doing what Nancy, John, Linda, the church, the neighbors, the community.
Everybody else wants.
We're always the people who we love the most. We sometimes put them last. So we'll do what everyone else needs and not realize that we are really neglecting the needs of our mate.
Yep. But listen, you can be curious to learn each other. cultivate a sense of curiosity.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You know, about your partner's life. A lot of times we're not curious. We think we know the person and we don't need to learn them anymore, or learn any of their habits or anything.
Right.
We just don't. I asked them for their goals.
Right. So this is part of taking time to spend attention and care on your relationship, asking about my goals, asking about
my dreams and aspiration, explore new activities or interests together. Together. I'm going to say it again.
Together,
explore new
yes.
activities and interests together, because a lot of times you're like, okay, you're into that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's true.
Right? And make an effort to learn about topics that you find fascinating.
So I know that, when Jason and I first got together, he loved baseball. And so our kids were in baseball. And I've always loved softball. But, I found an interest in it because he was interested in it. And it was something that actually, now I absolutely love baseball because I became a baseball mom. I became a baseball coach. And, so every aspect of baseball I really like. I'll sit and watch it on the television because I know about it. My interest in him and my love for him and his love for the game spread it to me. So now we can find things that our mate loves instead of just saying, well, I don't want to watch it because he watches it. Go and do something together that you enjoy, that he enjoy, that you guys both, or find something new that you guys can do together to both find an interest in. I know Jason and I took karate, right?
We did. That was fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it was something
we did that as a family.
Right.
Yeah.
So we put our boys in, and then Jason and I were like, maybe we can do it. We can do it too. So he and I took karate together. Right. So it's just finding new things, whatever it may be. You never know what, as you grow together, what interests you can develop together. Right. But most of all, the next tip, right? So make sure you're taking these down so you know how many you're doing. The next tip is maintain balance. Maintain balance in your relationship. That is so important.
Yeah, you have to, respect the boundaries.
Yes.
Right? So respect each other's boundaries. Remember that everyone has their own limits and personal space. I know you love each other, and I know you always want to be under one another, but you have to respect their own limits and personal space. Respect your partner's boundaries when it comes to sharing certain aspects of their life. Mm-hmm. Give them time to go shopping. Give them time to be away from you. That's fine, right?
Or boundaries when I'm available, when I'm not available, right?
Exactly. Right.
How to treat me, how to not treat me.
If you just need some time away, but we're still in the same house, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can have that time to just be. Allow them to be open to their own space and avoid pressuring them to disclose more than they are comfortable with. Now, we'll do that, right? If we want to know something, some people that's like, I need closure. I need you to answer this.
Want to know why, but why? Yeah.
But if I don't feel comfortable and I'm not ready to do it, then respect that. Respect the fact that I'm not at the point where I can really give you the answers that you need. But if you give me time, I can give you everything that you need once I'm comfortable. And that's just a part of having boundaries.
Absolutely. Boundaries and, what we can talk about and what we can't talk about. Sometimes the people are real sensitive with things that they haven't quite overcome.
Right.
So just be respectful about the things that your person, their boundaries, the space, that space that everyone needs, right? You ever feel like, that 10, how many, they say everybody has that,
15 feet?
Yeah, that feet.
10,
whatever it is. Okay,
feet.
so that personal space. Sometimes when people get into that personal space, you're like, wait a minute, you're past your boundaries. So the next tip and the last tip is be respectful. Imagine that. Be respectful, right? All right.
Show appreciation. Express gratitude for things that your partner brings to your life. Oh, man. You have to show gratitude for the things that your partner brings into your life. A lot of times we take this for granted, right? We can't always do that because they may not always do it or they may not always be there. So really, just show appreciation and gratitude for the little things that your spouse brings to you or your mate or whomever.
Right.
Acknowledge their efforts, their love, their support, right? Like Tina said, when I said that I like the way she packed, I generally mean that because the stuff is neat. Now, if I pack, it's in the bag. It's going to take me longer to get the stuff out. But I know that my shirts, my underwear, my socks, my pants, my shirts are in a certain place, right? So I do appreciate that. By appreciating and recognizing their presence, you reinforce the importance of the role that they have in your life.
Absolutely.
Because what you put your focus on is important to you, and you tend to express that. You show that this is what's important to me. This is what I love.
And when we say, again, the word was be respectful, a lot of the research that came back for the good times and the bad times, respect. So respect was one of the big ones in happy times. And lack of respect or disrespected was a lot of the bad times. So most of the time we think we want respect. We want our mate to respect us. We want to give respect to other people, but we don't want to give it to our mate, right? We think that person for some reason doesn't deserve it like everyone else. But we really have to remember when it comes to our mate, especially if we've been together for a while, that it's important to respect them no matter what. No matter what, we get so close to the situation or the person and we start to lose respect. And it only takes one time to say something disrespectful, then another time, and then it's like a habit.
It's totally disrespectful.
And you don't even realize that you're really damaging your relationship by the things that you're saying because your mate feels disrespectful or disrespected. So therefore, they're not going to return respect to you. So we wanted to go through those 12 tips as we go each day, right? And
don't forget, we're supposed to do this every single day. These 12 tips every single day.
And creating the right relationship. So ask yourself, how many of these things am I doing? Not how many do I know, because we know all of them.
Yep.
But how many am I doing? So Jason, let's go ahead and take the comments before we continue to go in, because I'm going to go over the one. So I'm just going to real quick. Okay. All right. Mia Miller says she's in the house.
Hey, Mia, how are you?
Hey, Mia. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Sandra said, I so love this real talk. Well, Sandra, I hope you are applying this real talk, because it's about really applying it, not just hearing it.
That's right.
All right. So Dennis says, Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Dennis. So we want to give you guys some tips to just work on as we're going each and every day through our habitual selves. When do we turn on the conscious button? When do we turn on? Let me turn off who I always am, right? I'm a habit, that automatic pilot. And let me consciously be aware of the things that I'm doing and I'm not doing to create the right and the loving relationship that I want. Then it says, I'm here, I'm definitely listening. I'm always looking to change my mindset of you can't teach an old. You can't teach an old. You said you can't, Dennis? I think you can. I think you can. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, because that dog is old enough to know if he doesn't change, he gonna get kicked out. Right? He gonna be in the dog house and not in the house. All right. So, guys, we're gonna repeat these 12 little things for you guys to do. Let me get my 12 things. All right. And Jason, you can go with me. So the first one is realize that you can control only yourself. Stop trying to control your mate. Stop trying to control the situation. Stop trying to control life. Stop trying to control the outcome. Realize that the only thing you can control is yourself.
And you can control yourself. In turn, you control the relationship and the situation.
And you start to create and you build a momentum of doing the right things for the right relationship.
That's right.
All right. Go ahead. You can read the next for me.
Oh. Give what you hope to receive.
All right. So, old dog Dennis, if you want some new treats, you better give some new treats. So Dennis said you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can. So remember to give what you want to receive. All right. The next thing is think before you speak. Let's stop. We do that so often. Let's stop making excuses as to why we do things, and let's just stop. Let's stop. When we say something or do something and we find a need to defend it, right? Or we say something that makes us feel uneasy because we didn't think before we spoke, because we spoke out of feelings. Let us just stop ourselves. Let's not look for someone else to tell us the right way or the wrong way. Let's stop ourselves. Let's take a break. Let's walk away. Let's get a drink, whatever it may be. Get yourself out of that situation and talk to yourself and say, I need to start doing the things that's creating a better environment for me. Even if you're not thinking about your mate right now, the thing is, if you want to create the right relationship, you have to get yourself in the right first. And that's where it starts.
So, yeah.
All right. Think before you speak. All right.
That can get you in trouble, because a lot of times we'll just blurt some stuff out.
Especially when we're upset.
Yep.
All right.
Choose your battles wisely. Is that like written just for men? I feel like it's just for men. I feel like it should come with a disclaimer, right?
Just for men.
Just for men.
Because women do it too. We need to choose our battles, right? Do we want to argue over the plate, or do we want to argue over something big like cleaning up the whole kitchen?
Yeah, I get you.
So do we want to argue over a pair of socks that's left on the floor, or do we want to argue over the fact that the total house is right, whatever. We have to choose our battles wisely, pick and choose. So stay on top of the small things. The small things are us. Right. Stay on top of controlling us, because that's the only thing we can control. All right?
Remember, if you take care of the small things, they won't become big issues later on.
That's right. Take care. Learn to effectively communicate the small things. So when the big things do occur, you have a balance of being able to effectively communicate with one another without destroying your relationship in the midst.
Be willing to be vulnerable. Be willing to be vulnerable. So that you just got to be open and be vulnerable. It's okay, especially for my men out there. It's okay to be vulnerable, right? I know it don't always seem like it's okay, but it's okay to be vulnerable.
And so the next one is give a sincere compliment each day. So Sandra, I hope that you're giving your mate a sincere compliment every day, and see how this changes you. See how this changes you and your feelings. And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just going from the comments on the screen. I'm really not. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm talking about everybody in particular. All right? Because we all need to give sincere and genuine compliments. All right? Can you read that one, babe?
It says, no, we can't really read that.
Be open regarding your need.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Give your relationship the attention and care.
Give your relationship the attention and the care. The same attention and care you give your grandkids, the same attention and care you give your church, the same attention and care you give your extracurriculum activities, whatever it is. The same attention you give your shopping, your drinking, your watching the ball game. Give that same thing to your relationship. All right?
Because it is important.
It is.
Yep. And then when you're doing that, then you maintain balance.
The next tip.
So you have to
balance.
And that's what a lot of times when we run into problems, it's because we're out of balance.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a washing machine. You get a boonga boonga, right? When you're out of balance. True. Your life is the same way. When you get knocked around with life and your relationship, and we've just argued so much and we're having all these different issues.
Something is out of balance.
Something is out of
balance.
balance.
Too much of one thing and not enough of the other. Too much of unappreciation and not enough appreciation. So those compliments. So the next thing is have appropriate boundaries. Set boundaries. Make sure they're appropriate. Don't be making these outlandish, boundary requests, but at least make sure that you are respecting their boundaries and they're respecting your boundaries. And make sure that they're not unspoken boundaries, that you are actually communicating with your mate your boundaries that you need for them to respect.
So you have to speak up about your boundaries. And then once someone acknowledges that, then you need to you just need to support them on that, whatever their boundaries are.
Right, exactly.
I'm going to support you.
Oftentimes when I tell you my boundaries, you want to tell me why they're not my boundaries. That's what we want to do. Well, how can this be this? And how can shut up and listen. Shut up and listen. That's what we just wanted to. That was a Tina tip. Yep. Shut up and listen. Right.
But our last tip, the 12th one.
Right.
Is be respectful.
Be respectful.
I mean, there's nothing else.
RESPECT.
You just have to be respectful. If we're respectful majority of the time, we can eliminate a lot of issues.
Even if we don't like their decisions or we don't like their actions or we don't like what they said, just be respectful.
Yeah.
Just be respectful, because that's what we truly want from our mate. So give them what you want, right? Tip number one or two was give what you want to receive. If I want to receive respect, then I have to give respect. And oftentimes I used to say that to my kids. If you want respect, you have to give respect. And that is so true. And as parents, sometimes, and then it came back to me, right? Because when I was disrespectful to my kids, which parents, we think we have a right, but we still have to treat them as human beings, especially if we want them to have a good sense of pride of who they are. We have to be respectful of who they are, as well as our mates.
Yep.
All right, we got some more comments. All right. So what did the old dog Dennis say? I'm a habitual speaker before I think person.
And you're not the only one, man. I'm going to tell you that. Sometimes
that's because
insert
Dennis, you
foot
think,
in mouth, man. I
you
get
think
it.
you're going to miss something. Like, let me hurry up and speak before I forget it. No, just stop. Dennis, you were the one and I said, shut up. Just shut up. Good. You cool me calling you out, Dennis. So, Dennis, next time when you go, just stop. Just like stop in midstream. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop and just sit with your thoughts. All right? It's sometimes challenging to give sincere, genuine compliments when you're in a resentment and anger. I'm just saying, no, it's not. You just think it is. Last week, if I'm not mistaken, Dennis said something was challenging. And we told him that, and then the week before that, we had Coach Greta on. And she said, your challenges are your treasures. Your challenges are your treasures because they help you work on yourself.
Yep.
They help you to see your faults. Because truly, if you're resentful, that means you're resenting something about yourself, because that's that mirror work works, Sandra. That mirror work, where's my book? Works, right? So what you are seeing in him, something in you is responded to it, right? So my wonderful church mom, Reverend Fannie McCullough, I would have a little, something to say about somebody. And she would say, well, Tina, the reason why you feel that way is because it's in you, right?
The reason why
you can see it.
You can see it. You can feel it. It's because it's in you, and it's attaching to you.
Give you the example, right? And so I try to go around and be this happy, loving person, right? And it's not a try. I really genuinely am.
You are
90% of the time
you are.
a happy, genuine person, because life is good, right? And even when things are kind of going
until
so there's, and sometimes people don't always want your happiness, right? So you're happy, and then they see you're happy, and they're like, the hell you so happy for, right? Right? Because that's what they're thinking.
Right.
And so they give me some hate, and I'll be like, why is, and you can feel it. And so then I immediately turn, and then I'm like, I'm giving back hate. And the reason why I'm giving back hate, because I felt the hate. Now I'm reflecting it. But the only reason I'm reflecting is because I allowed that person to give me hate. And so I'm like, I'm not liking you either. But the only reason is because they didn't give me love back. Now I'm seeing something in them that they're just telling me, Tina, this is really something you need to work on. You're not as happy as you think you are. Is it genuine, or are you phonifying it, right?
Yeah.
So Sandra, the resentment and the anger is because you're trying to change the situation, and what the situation is telling you is that you need to change yourself. That's it. That's all.
Ooh,
let's get our next comment.
Yeah.
You missed one. Okay. I'm at the point of needing to take accountability for my actions, and I love Jason.
Thanks.
I love Jason's opinion, Dennis. I know.
Trust me.
Right.
We do.
So Dennis, a lot of things that you say, right? You just a habitual speaker. You don't think. Think about what you would want someone to say to you before you say it. Yeah. And think about the relationship that you want to create. If you want to create a loving relationship, are these words that are about to come out of my mouth, are they, if I turned them around and spoke them to myself, how would I feel? But that's with anybody, right? So I may put Dennis in front of that conversation, but it's with anybody. When I get ready to say something to Jason, I have to ask myself, and now I'm going to tell you, this is a constant and continual thing that we have to go through, because we are people of habit, right? And so the old me was like, I don't care about no thinking. No. So the old me used to just, like Dennis, I just spoke my mind. And I thought in my heart, truly, I thought that speaking my mind was effective communication because I'm letting you know
it was effective.
how I feel.
Oh, it was effective. Right.
Affecting our relationship.
Right.
So I had to stop and say, how he can't always be taking your words the wrong way. Like, how are you saying these words? Not only how are you saying, but how are you giving them? How are you meaning them? What is the backing behind them, right? Am I sending them with love? Am I sending them with anger? Am I sending them with resentment? Am I sending them with, hey, look, you need to change? So the question is, we're going to all have to think before we speak, but the words that we speak, we have to say them to ourselves. Let's stop and think first, because we want to do more good than harm in our relationship. And if we really want to start creating I truly believe, Jason and I truly believe that there's no relationship that's past despair. There really isn't. What it is a misunderstanding, and we haven't properly gotten trained on how to effectively love one another continuously and ongoing, and to make it grow.
And we don't really know how to love ourselves either. So that's part of why we can't get over a lot of things in our relationships.
It's like anything. We can have a flower or we can have a weed. They're both of them will grow exponentially if we feed either one.
Right.
If we just give that weed water and we give that flower water, they're both gonna grow. The thing is, which one are you feeding? Are you feeding the weeds in your relationship, or are you feeding the flowers in your relationship? And that's how creating your relationship right goes. Let's pull up the weeds, let's plant some flowers, and let's start thinking before we speak. Let's be respectful. Let's create care and attention. Let's start doing some things out of the norm, and let's see how our mate responds. Because when we start doing things out of the norm, it makes us feel better. We're not doing them just for our mate. We're doing them for our relationship. We're doing them for the love that we still have for our mate that for somehow has gotten buried and we don't know how to bring it back out.
Yeah, we know how to bring it back out.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
You these tips.
This is how you're going to get out of that funk, and this is how you're going to create the right relationship the way that you want it on your terms.
Can you tell me those names up there, the love or the thing? So guys, Dennis and Sandra, I'm gonna call you guys out because you guys are on, right? So anybody else? Oh, okay. So Dennis and Sandra, I'm just gonna say, out of these 12, I want you guys to come back next week and tell me how many you're doing every single day. You have 7 days. I want you to write down what you do on day 1, day 2, day 3,
and
all the way up to day 7. And so I want to know, how many are you doing each and every day of the 12? Because these are 12 tips to use on your relationship each and every day. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Because once you can establish these small 12, it's easy to step into the next 12 and the next 12, and then just gradually see your relationship change. And it changes by you changing how you look at it, your perspective, your feelings. You know, really, resentment is only a choice, Sandra. Resentment is a choice. You choose to be resentful instead of choosing happiness. It's a choice.
Just like those 12 steps, right?
Absolutely.
It's a choice, right? If you choose to do those, I don't want to guarantee, but I can say with some authority that your relationship will change. Your vision of your relationship will change. How you interact with each other will change. And you will feel better about your relationship. Now, will it happen overnight? No, because the old you still wants to come in there. But if you follow these 12 steps and you do them every single day, you'll have a different outlook in 7 days.
Absolutely. So let's just try. Let's start with the little things, guys. It's the little things that really matter. It really is. It really is. My healthy relationship effort and commitment is working on my communication skills and distinguishing the difference between unconscious attacking and understanding empathy in the conversation being discussed. Yep. Wonderful, Dennis. Yep. Wonderful. See, old dog, you can learn new tricks. Look at you. You learned how to roll over to the other side.
You're not so rough after all.
Right.
Hey, look at
all right. So,
but what Dennis has said, but some of these tips here can help you with that. Because if you're paying attention to this, you're not just start speaking and doing a lot of other things. You're respecting boundaries. You're being an active listener. So it's a lot of things that you're doing.
Feeling what they're going through.
Right. You're more conscious of their day and how things are going, how they took care of certain situations. So it plays a whole entire role, right? So I mean, like if you retired and somebody said, "Well, how was your day?" Well, what'd you do? Nothing. But don't ask them the question where they have to answer with nothing, right? But they had an exciting part of the day, or the part of the day they enjoyed the most. Then ask them that question, right? You have to elicit some conversation, some interactions, not just to say yes, no. Oh, how you doing? Fine. What are you up to? Nothing. And it's how some of the conversations go. And it's like it stops. And it's like, well, they don't like conversating. Stop asking those questions, right? If you want more, ask it in a different light.
Be genuinely concerned.
Right.
Be genuinely interested.
Right. Now,
to help them and be their rock. Right. And so
I want to say this about some of the questions when I ask you. If I ask Tina some of those yes, no, whatever questions, she goes, I really don't like when you ask me questions like that. That really irritates me. And I was like, well, it was quiet in the house. I just wanted to know how you were doing. I'm doing fine, but if you guys have something to talk about, then you should just, say it, which is true, right? You just saying stuff just to say it doesn't really help your relationship, right? She wants more meaningful things. Now, if you really want to know how I'm doing, I'm going to have to sit down for about 20, 30 minutes to find out how she's truly doing, right? Well, like, you're okay? And that's just like, yeah, I'm okay. Right, so you have to be open to it.
Make the people think that you don't talk, man.
I didn't say that.
You're the one. I'll say something, and then you'll just be talking and talking.
Yeah.
So, case in point, we get up at 5:00 in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be out of the door at 6, going to the health club.
Yep.
We will sit on the bed or in the bed after we meditate, after we pray, and we'll talk for an hour and a half. Now, I'm not talking to myself.
Right.
So, guys, don't let him give you.
At that point, I'm
the
doing
idea
active
that
listening.
No, you're not.
I'm doing active listening.
You're doing active talking. So he talks.
I'm just in my
Stories, guys. You tell stories. So I like the point is, don't give me no empty conversation. But back to the subject at hand is that let's start doing things different to change us in creating the right relationship. So if I told you how to make a cake, why would you go and get something that you don't need to make this cake? If I say you need flour, don't go get dirt, right? So we're giving you these 12 tips to say, start here. Start creating the relationship that you want, because these are tips that can help you go in that direction.
I feel like they're gifts.
If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And we all want, I don't care who it is, we all want to be loved and respected. We want laughter. We want a joy. We want a harmonious relationship. And that's why we're so angry, because this is what we want, and we can't get it for whatever reason. But just understand, your mate is going through the same thing. They want that same relationship too, and they're not getting it. You're only looking from yourself. So one of those tips was put yourself in your mate's shoes. They want the same thing you want. They're frustrated. Now, frustrated kept coming up over and over again in our research. And if you guys didn't answer our questions, go back on Facebook and make sure that you answer. We were just doing a research poll on give me 3 or 4 words when your relationship is bad, and give me 3 or 4 words when your relationship is good. Because I want you guys to see and understand that we're all going through the same thing. Let's just bond and be together and help each other through it. And so Jason and I are here to give you as much help, support, information, tools, techniques, whatever you guys need, because we are doing it. We have done it. We're working. We have momentum. We're striving. I would say 23% of our relationship is happy. No, I'm just kidding.
I take a lot. Yeah. It's happy though. Right. I take the happy.
No, I'm just saying that we have come a very long way, and we're not done yet, because relationships are continual work. As we change, our relationships change, our dynamics change, and so we have to have the right tools in order to grow with it. So let's start on those relationships. Anything else, honey?
Yeah, she's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the honeymoon stage, the honeymoon parent stage, and then the kid stage, getting on your nerve, grown adult, well, not adult, teenage.
Oh, goodness.
And then when they go to college, just us
Get my life back.
So, anyway, guys, every relationship goes through stages. We're here to help you. Let's do it right. Let's not defend. Let's not make excuses. Let's say, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong. Let me try this. That's knowing better and doing better is what we need to do, right? So knowing it is not enough. You have to be doing it. We have to be doing it, right? We have to be doing it. Water the flower, not the weed.
Fertilize it with some of these 12 gifts we gave you. You call them tips. I call them gifts because I think it's a gift. Right? So right. I feel like it's a gift because, that's a lot right there. You telling me if I do this, I can get a different this? Okay.
But it's a choice. We got to stop thinking that. We got to stop holding on to what feels comfortable to us, because comfortable means that we're not changing. We have to stop holding on to anger. We have to stop holding on to resentment. We have to stop holding on to guilt. We have to stop holding on to arguing. We have to stop holding on to thinking that complaining to someone else is going to change the situation. Right. We have to stop doing the things that we're doing that feel comfortable to us. We have to start doing something different to create something different, because that's really what happened. We pushed the automatic pilot button on our relationship, and it just took a detour, and we didn't know where it went off road. So right now we're just on a rugged terrain trying to figure out how to get back on level, safe ground.
Yeah, we're just trying to get back on the road so we can just have smooth sailing.
All right, guys. So that is it for us.
We want everybody to enjoy the holiday, enjoy the weekend, have great times with your family and your friends. Be safe.
Just have a great time with yourself.
Or great times with yourself. If you have to work today, Dennis, don't work too hard. We do appreciate you popping on.
Yes. We appreciate all of you guys. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. All right. So first, we want you to like it. Then you don't even have to say anything. Just hit the share button and go on your feed. Like it, share it, then go to YouTube and hit subscribe so that you guys know when we're on and when we have new episodes. All right.
What's the channel again? Legendary Relationship under YouTube.
All right.
Yep. You can just type. You can just do @Legendary Relationship, no space.
If you guys didn't get all the 12 tips because I may have said them too fast, which I doubt it, they're also going to be on our website. So we're going to post the 12 tips on our website. You can go to legendaryrelationship.com and get the 12 tips so that for the next 7 days, you can put a mark next to the ones you're doing. So you can actually see your progress.
No excuses.
All right?
Yep.
All right, guys. So you have a blessed weekend. We love you. Come back again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Please
Share.
Awesome discussion. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. It's awesome because you guys are here and you guys are contributing, and we appreciate that.
Yes. All right. So as always, the dynamic duo in marriage.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
He got to do his work over there, guys.
I do have to do my work. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, I am ready now.
All right. So the dynamic duo in marriage, as always.
We're in it to win it. Till next week, guys. Talk to you soon.